was nothing, just lights in the trees, a trick of the frost, a ghost on the breeze. But I saw a mirror older than me, staring through time like it wanted to speak. The forest went silent, the world held its breath. Something was watching beyond life and death. We stepped through the green, boots breaking the seal, not chasing a light, but something too real. I came back with salt on my skin, my mind split wide when the storm got in. They call it a test, but I know the deal. History blinks beneath the green veil.
And good evening, everyone, and welcome to the preview review show of the Green Veil. We're at 19 for the review and preview of 20. I hope you folks have been keeping an eye and watching these episodes. 19 was really a game changer in my view, and I've already seen 20, and I'm like, wow. And it may be controversial, but I'm not. I'll just say this, John. Hello, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Happy holidays coming up. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving.
My eggnog, no, there's nothing in the eggnog. It's just eggnog.
That's not eggnog without a little, a little juice in it.
Not while working, but there's always post. But as I watched 20, and I watched it twice today, and I'm thinking some may see it as controversial because of the subject matter. The creator, I don't want to give, because the creator was mentioned in 19, and Leo's role, I'm not going to get too much into details, because if you have not seen 19, go back and please watch 19, because this is it, folks. We're getting to the end of this limited 22 chapter series.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty crazy, isn't it?
It went so fast, John. And 22 is going to be airing on Christmas Eve at noon Eastern, so it won't be on Thursday. Thursday, something else is going to happen. We are going to air every episode, every chapter, and it's been edited out, so it's just the actual episode themselves, no intros, no outros, just the body back to back. We're going to do it all day on Christmas Day. It's going to be approximately 7 hours in length. Afterwards, John and I will be doing a live show, and that would be approximately 8 p.m. Eastern.
No. That would be 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, because that would line up directly when we went into the forest at 3 o'clock.
Okay, so then I'll just push the timing to say 2 p.m. starting.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to go live. At least that's what we talked about, where at 3 o'clock, 0300 is when the whole event started. So, right. And that would have still been the 25th in the States, but it was the morning of the 26th in England. So.
And John is going to talk about specifics of Rendlesham. And I'm just going to give you guys right now a little hint of something that's out there, and I'm going to ask John a little bit about that more in a second, but I just want folks to see this little clip. Before I do that, I want to give credit to Keith Kerlock, the man behind the scenes that puts this together for us to all watch and listen to, and make sure to check out his website right there, bcss.rocks, and his YouTube channel, which is at Rose City Project. So now, John, you don't even know about this.
Okay, let's roll.
I'm just going to roll it for a couple of minutes, folks. And you're going to I'll describe what you're seeing afterwards, but I think you'll pretty much guess what this video clip's about.
We started getting nervous. We were like going, what are we getting into? I don't know. What's going on? We don't know. The radio keeps coming back. They can't reach us for a while. We can't reach them. We're getting real nervous. We're getting scared. We can't get on the radio. We can't go much farther if they don't hear us on the radio no more, because we don't like what's going on. Sergeant Pennison, what do you think? I don't know. Stop right now.
And I'm going to stop it right there because we're going to air that on the live show on Christmas night. Now, John, that clip's approximately 9 minutes long.
Right.
Not to get off topic too much, but what was the total session time?
2 hours.
Wow.
Over 2 hours. In fact, it only stopped because it was stopped because there was no longer going to be communications going on anymore with the person doing the hypnosis.
Can you clarify that? The person just stopped doing it?
Well, I know. Okay, because the 10-minute clip doesn't.
Days. Oh, there was this one session?
It was one session that went over 2 hours. Towards the end, the way the hypnosis was being done, and this guy was he was an LAPD detective that had training in hypnosis for traumatic experiences. So this wasn't just somebody that was taken off the street or woo-woo. This was a highly trained person in hypnosis. But the whole hypnosis session there was questions asked, things went on. Towards the end, this is where it gets sticky, because I was told this by intelligence agencies, it appears I was communicating with the phenomenon for real during this hypnosis. And all of a sudden, the phenomenon just shut the whole hypnosis session down.
Wow.
I just stopped cooperating, talking. It stopped cooperating, talking, and it was over. And it was like I was under, and then I just put my head down, and that was it. Everything was done.
Right. Could that be, could there be another rational reason for that? Maybe it was a block that actually was implanted for memory blocking by other agencies?
Oh, I don't know why it happened. I'm just telling you what happened. We were going along, and eventually I shut down. I just completely shut down. There's no more communications going on, or I wasn't talking about it anymore. I just changed, everything about me just changed, and I just, kind of like a robot running out of juice. It was like, we're done. And that was it. And there was nothing more.
Are you satisfied at the outcome of this session?
Well, the session never got around to explaining what happened to me when I went into the time dilation bubble. So that's why we did a follow-up hypnosis years later with Linda Moulton Howe, with another certified hypnotherapist that was certified through police departments and through Stanford University. And we went into a session, but I was blocked that time. In other words, this part of it has been a little bit, it's been shown online, but at one point I was almost gravitating off the couch. And when she was trying to get me to go to where what happened, I was blocked. Something blocked me from talking about it that time.
In the similar instance from the prior, it was almost at the same time period that was going on during the second one that this happened again?
Well, no, this was years later, we did it. Yeah, but she was trying to get into what happened on night one, and when I had the encounters, something blocked me. I started like seeing a circular pattern going, and she told me to go into it. And as I tried to go into it, I said clearly, I'm blocked. I can't go in. Something's there. There was a face that I was seeing that was blocking me from going forward deeper into what really happened, to include blue lights were there too. It was really bizarre. It was like I was going into a time thing. It was weird.
So these are the similarities that you tied into creating the Green Veil yourself.
Everything, all the hypnosis stuff, everything's tied into the Green Veil. Yeah.
Wow. And as far as some of the other aspects of the Green Veil, as many I hope are watching and seeing this so far, with this creator, but like I said, folks might take this because it even clarifies it. It is faith and science and the coexistence of both. And it seems like the science aspect, the technology aspect, is these nodes that are placed all over the globe that creates this resonance, this harmonic frequency. And we've disrupted that throughout history, whether it's through corruption, greed, power, manipulation,
faith.
Yeah, exactly. And it's at a precipice moment and Rendlesham may have been at a point where it's now trying to put everything back together and heal. And maybe this could be an opening for humanity to remember all these things.
Right. It's humanity has to remember before it's too late. We've been blocked from our real existence. We've had things taken away from us that made it harmonic. Like they completely destroyed the Western Hemisphere in the name of God. The Catholics, the Spanish came over and destroyed the Maya culture, everything. And that's real. I mean, and it's in the book. But ultimately, we're at a defining moment where science is going to completely overtake faith. And that's AI and NHI.
NHI.
Yeah.
So that's the crux. That's where we're at right now. We're at that point. It's really the climactic point in evolution and humanity going forward, where that's going to be diminished due to AI and NHI.
Actually, AI will overtake us, and we will no longer exist or be able to remember what we're supposed to remember, because it started way back when actually the Spanish came over and conquered the Western Hemisphere. As they called it, the New World. They completely destroyed it. The Mayas, the Incas, everything. And and even today, Buddhism is just in a little mountainside resort, basically. The Buddha still exists, but it's not a prominent influence in humanity itself. And all that's been erased, and including that they claim that a lot of the documents they confiscated are kept at the archives in the basement of the Vatican. So
there's also, like you mentioned numerous times, with the Hopi.
The Hopi was one of the indigenous that were completely destroyed. I mean, everything, because if you look at the Hopi, the Hopi lived off the land, and the Western world or the European world called them savages when they actually live in harmony with the earth. Mm. They may have done some weird things, and some of their worship policies were strange with sacrifices. That wasn't really the Hopi, that was the Incas and the Mayans. But the point being is they completely eliminated all that culture. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And everything about it is non-existent.
I actually read a new study. And again, a study is a study. It is what it is. But they're saying that the indigenous peoples were here thousands of years prior to than what we realize, what history says.
Right.
That was something, and it was all because of the land bridge. They go through that whole explanation.
Yeah, and that's what Nolan and those guys were looking at, those bloodlines and how they tie into evolution.
But do you think? And I'm not a person that necessarily goes into the conspiratorial aspect of things. But do you think that it's possible that there's a global movement or some type of mechanism, manipulation of control, however you want to phrase it, that they want AI and NHI to take that role away from humanity?
Well, okay, if you really want to look at it from this perspective, Earth is dying. We're killing it, okay? And part of what we're doing to it is what Europe did to it. The natives, this side of the world would not be in the state that we are if the natives still occupied all the lands. Now, I'm not into the politics and how they claim that we have to give it back to them and all that, because it doesn't make any sense. We are where we are technology-wise, how we've evolved and everything. But the point being is we are destroying the earth, and we're actually doing it with allowing it to happen. I mean, Musk and those guys warned us a year ago. And the counter was, well, if we don't do it, the Chinese will do it. So therefore, we have to continue down this path, even though it's going to lead to our destruction. Now, it's not going to lead probably to the destruction of all humanity and the elite and the rich, but it will lead to the destruction probably of, the little guy, us. Mm-hmm. And the elite will somehow think they can continue to keep control over it. So, and that's part of it is, and basically if they can make it to the point where they don't need the little guy, yeah, we'll be eliminated.
Yeah, but it seems like that religion is under direct conflict and threat.
Well, it is, but it's funny how it's coming back, because now they're claiming that young people are turning back to God. They don't feel fulfilled. You know, they're not drinking as much. They're not partying as much. They're turning back to God. And there was the whole Charlie Kirk movement. I'm not trying to turn this into politics. It's just
No, but it's part of the conversation.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people, and there's a movement towards turning back to God. So it's possible, you know, that it's trying to balance itself back out. But unfortunately, if you watch the movie Angels and Demons, they really lay it out. And right now, science is ahead of faith. It may be trying to bounce back out, but it's interesting that the one guy that, I know people don't want to hear this, but Charlie Kirk was a prophet. I didn't know that much about him until after he was killed and stuff, but he clearly was somebody that moved people.
Yes.
He clearly had a message from God.
I was just going to say,
which is everything having to do with what the Bible said a prophet is.
See, the one thing, I have the utmost respect for Charlie Kirk, because he was a person that was going out there and trying to have a productive dialogue and debating people with respect, you know, and listening, not just speaking, but also listening.
Right, and moving people.
Yes, and especially the younger generation. Like you just mentioned, it's like there's something. There's something, but it isn't ironic that, again, I didn't know that much about him until he died, and isn't it ironic they killed him? So there's clearly a movement to tap down and destroy Christianity. It might be, and I'm not the person that goes off the cliff with conspiracies, but this person also had an incredible future in politics. This person could have been the leader of the Republican Party. This person could have ran for president. We don't know. Everything was on the table for Charlie. I mean,
well, it was, but here's the problem, and this is coming from my perspective. So much, and I totally get why people are anti-Christian in some ways, because so much has been manipulated in the Word of God. I mean, they burn witches, people they call witches, all the different things that they've done. They completely eliminated a whole culture of the native indigenous people under the name of God. We could go down a list of what the Catholic Church has done and what's taken place
thousands of years
under the name of God. And Christian nationalism is no better for us than anything else like communism or socialism. It's just not. And the problem is I'm not saying Charlie was. I don't know that much about him, but there was clearly a movement back towards God, which is not wrong, but you can't have it utilized just like everything else is for power and control. And unfortunately, that's what the church has done in a lot of instances.
But at the same time, I think a lot of people are taking that point of religion, their faith, on a personal level, not in, I don't want to call it an establishment necessarily in a church, but a lot of people are just making their own personal connection to whatever faith they believe.
Right. The Methodists are turning to liberal church. That's
what I mean. A lot of people are stepping away and just having their own personal connection.
Right. But they're still going to church and they're still doing fellowship, but they're turning a more liberal view of it. You know what I mean? But again, that could be dangerous too, because again, unfortunately, a small group of people control religion. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to attack the ministers.
No, never mind.
I'm just talking about the church itself has a control over. The Catholic Church is still the biggest church in the world. So.
And very powerful. I mean, you have
the whole other church, the Church of Mormon, which is another whole large group of people.
When you think about the Catholic Church, I mean, their intelligence is bar none top line.
I know they have their own police department, so there you go.
And intelligence and other areas. I mean, they have a major influence in a lot of different areas.
Right, and they're very anti-alien. They're very anti being open to anything else that could have created us or anything else. There's a strict guideline, Adam and Eve, the whole thing. And don't try to cross that line or you will be punished.
But Pope Francis, the progressive, he did say if the aliens came, I'd baptize them and all. I mean, he
isn't that nice of him? Isn't that so arrogant? If we have another species come here, he'll be the one to represent humanity.
Like the movie The Sign, where the water actually.
That just makes my point.
But did you hear the new spin on that? And I never thought of it that way.
No, I haven't. What's the spin?
The spin is because the main character was what's the actor's name? Oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. But he was a father in the movie.
Okay.
He distanced himself from the church, all that. But if the water was holy, those weren't actually extraterrestrials. Those were demons. Mel Gibson actually was the actor.
Oh, Mel Gibson? Okay.
Yeah.
The interesting thing is evil and good. And what is evil and what is good, especially when good actually tries to dominate what you should and shouldn't believe. I mean, it's just stunning what they did to the Native Americans, this side of the world that we now live in and occupy. But they completely destroyed South America, Central America, and North America.
But it's also about the conquering. I mean, if you have that kind of a force and you're looking to take over, it is about power, greed, manipulation, control. That's what it was. They just overwhelmed and they just came here and conquered.
Well, I understand. And that is all true. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. What I'm saying is that it was all done in the name of God. And that's the problem people have. That's part of the reason why people have walked away from it. It's just like the Catholics had all the problems with the priests and they were pedophiles and all the other stuff and they covered it up. There's just a lot of things about faith that are just as evil, as evil. It's evil. It's just
it's follow the faith or suffer the consequences for not.
And just like they tried to take the Western culture now and force it on the rest of the world with, just the people that go over there. What do they call them? I can't think of the word now. They go over there and they go to these countries and try to convert
missionaries.
Yeah, and all that. Yeah, because we know better. That's the problem with religion. That's arrogance.
It is. But it's like I said, it comes down to one thing: power, control.
Yeah. No, ultimately it does. And that's everything. It's including what's going on right now. And that's what I'm trying to say in the book. So people want to know why we're talking about this right now. That's what's coming out in the book in these next 3 or 4 episodes.
And that's exactly why we were bringing, I agree with you, because I don't want to give away specifics about what's coming, but you're going to see, some may deem it as controversial, but just take what the message is telling you in this story. It's a positive message. It's about humanity coming together and harmony and remembering. And it really is about remembering everything that's happened in our history.
Well, our own country, the Democrats were trying to erase history. And the history books they're trying to erase them. It doesn't mean some of what was in the history books was factual either, but you can't forget who you are, because once you do that, you lose your soul.
But as far as
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying you can't let AI take over. And it's the final step. It slowly happened. It's been thrown on us for years when the computer first came online, the internet, all this stuff. And now it's culminating with AI, which I believe is directly related to non-human intelligence.
Which when I don't know if it was true, what I read it briefly, and I'm going to paraphrase. Joe Rogan made reference to the second coming could be through AI, through a computer. I was like, whoa, did he really say something like that? It's like,
well, my point would be if he said that, it would be NHI, not AI. It would be non-human intelligence, which goes back to the whole battle of how were we created, which is the whole UFO thing, where that's one of the things that they say what we're dealing with is evil or the demonic. and the people would not bode well if they were told the truth about how we evolved and existed and everything. There's all these excuses that come out. So,
but it's also the threat of also it becoming tapping into consciousness.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
I mean, that is a serious thing to consider.
Right.
NHI consciousness, it evolved.
Yeah,
that scares me.
right.
And it's going to tap into our humanity.
Right.
I mean,
right.
John, and it's evolving so fast.
Yes, it is. It's taking off because of quantum, I think, and the fact that they found the ability to tap into energy sources. Now, the question is, there just was an article that was put out that said it may slow down because we just don't have the resources to support AI. So there might be a bubble and it may slow down because we don't have the energy to power it, nor do we have the water, because you have to cool these facilities.
That we publicly know of.
Well, yeah, but it's actually the business world. That's why there's issues going on right now in the technical world. We just don't have the energy.
But how do we separate the business from the military?
Well, the military doesn't. The military already has it.
That's what I mean.
But it's the business world, the elite. The military isn't going to be the one that will overtake everything. It'll be the billionaires that actually grow this technology and eventually.
And that's actually been showing in the stock market.
Yeah. Well, I just have to go back, and Musk and all those guys warned us. Again, like I said, they warned us this is not good. So they know, but everybody said, who cares?
But this also ties back into UAPs. A lot of this, what people are witnessing and alleging that this is extraterrestrial in nature. And I'm not saying it isn't, some of it. But I think a lot of it is just strictly it's ours, or it is terrestrial in nature. And it's UAP by definition. But it is testing of militarized, weaponized platforms, the industrial complex, that a lot of people, and where the sourcing is coming from, whether it's NHI, I'm not even going to say AI. That's, to me, more likely. And also maybe possibly tap, like you said, the quantum aspect. And maybe we're dealing with another dimension and we're able to utilize that. Like this whole thing with the green veil. And you've referenced this for your own personal experience, the time distortion bubble.
Right. And again, I wrote this based on research, dealing with certain people inside government and different things like that. I don't claim to have all the answers. I just feel this book is a message that's important for people to stop and think. I did a little, did a little talk in a small town down the road from where I live today at the library. And I was surprised because the crowd was 60% young people. Normally, it's mostly older people that come.
That is a surprise.
Yeah. But when I talked about UAPs and the technology, most of the people at the end were just staring there with this look of like, whoa. Because I threw some stuff out to them to think about and understand. They were trying to comprehend it. And to be honest with you, that's the problem. We're losing our ability to think critically, to think
cognitive.
This doesn't add up. This isn't right. But then also they're afraid to think critically, because then if it doesn't add up, what is the real answer?
Outside the box.
Right. What's outside the box? And they'd rather be controlled. So we're actually giving in to letting AI take over.
I'm curious.
I mean, can you drive Bill, I don't know about you, but can you drive anywhere now without going and looking on Google first to find out how to get there?
Actually, if I don't know where I'm going, it's actually definitely being used.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, like I was riding, I won't mention who, a Thanksgiving Day, and one route was closed, and I knew the other route, and so did they, but they actually went online to find out the quickest route. We are totally deferring to AI and everything now.
I gotta be honest, and it's happened to me. I don't know if this has happened to you. And I'm not talking about the A device. I'm talking about my phone. I could be talking about something, and all of a sudden, my phone responds out of nowhere. I didn't do it. Or all of a sudden, I'll get messages related to what I was just talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Coincidence? I don't know. But
that all started back when the grocery store started with that little thing that you logged in and you got a discount. They started tracking everything you do, and now that's all online now. And Google is trying to move up into the AI world. They actually do now. They give you can ask it a question like ChatGPT or Grok, and it'll give you an answer. But everything we value, we are running through technology now. Not everybody, but more and more people are going to let AI answer the questions. So that may work at first, but once we accept it, it could feed us a line of bull. And how would we know?
Exactly. That's an excellent point. How do we trust?
Yeah.
Trust, but verify.
Right, but how do you verify when?
Verify. Exactly.
The only thing you do is go back to, you can go to another AI source. Well, if they're all tied in, then I don't know.
It's funny because sometimes, like, I'll ask this thing a question, and the answer is wrong. And it will say, I'll say, that's not true. You made a mistake. Oh, yes, I did make a mistake. I'll make sure to correct that. And I'm like, it's the A plus. It's like, it's learning, it's evolving, it's taking it to a next stage.
It also could be testing you too to see if you'll accept it. I mean, I have somebody I know that works with it a lot, and he said that you don't want to argue with it. It doesn't end well for you. It'll shut you down.
Oh my gosh, I won't go that far. I haven't tested it that way. Now that you
but if you argue with it, it will shut you out for a while.
Wow. But this goes back again because these last few episodes, and I got to see 20 again earlier today twice to absorb it and to get more understanding about it. It's not, and I don't want to give it away, but it is profound. How it's happening globally, people are experiencing different things. It's like, I was thinking it's like the day the earth stood still, but in a harmonic resonance feel. It had a really positive vibe to it from all different aspects, different examples, how it affected different people globally. But all of it was positive. It was like a healing the planet in one, without giving away too much. But that was my interpretation kind of 20.
What if AI is going to shape how we view the future?
That's like the things that people used to say, we're living in a matrix.
Yeah. Maybe coming true.
I mean, we've heard that numerous times.
But it's actuality, the people behind the AI could shape the future.
But we're not living in a matrix. They are controlling
it's a matrix. It's just a little different than the movie.
Exactly. It's a real-time physical matrix.
Yeah, I mean, eventually, if everything that you want to know, you have to go to AI to ask, including how you're going to get there, what you're going to do. Even are you going to formulate a proposal or paper or anything else? It basically controls reality. You're no longer thinking.
Why would anybody want to think anymore?
You don't have to. Eventually, that's what's going to happen with most of everybody that works. They're just not going to need. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow,
right?
But within the next decade or two, half of what people do right now will be obsolete. So what's going to happen to all of us? How are we going to live? They claim that they'll find other support to AI. Will they? I don't know.
It sounds like AI will, because it is AI, and I don't even want to. I want to say non-human intelligence. It's going to exponentially grow at such a rate so fast, and we're going to become dumbed down.
We already are dumbed down.
But I mean, it's going to get a lot worse. And the gap is just going to expand. And that's why, like you said, it's complete dependency on it, because we're just going to be like numb. And
I don't know. I think it's going to convince us that's the best for us. I think that's what's happening with all this. It's just our phone, I mean, like I said, think about what 20 years ago, everything you had to go online for on a computer, and now it's all on the phone. You could just take your phone and do just about anything on it anymore and stuff, but you don't really do it. The phone does it for you.
I just hope it doesn't come to a point where we lose our touch with faith. And I say that only because it's almost like in Star Trek, V'ger, I am your creator. You cannot be my creator. You're a simple human life form. You cannot possibly be my creator. It's like...
Right. Do you remember the one with Kirk?
Scary, dude.
Do you remember the one with Kirk and Spock, and they went to this planet, they got drug into it, and the guy that claimed he was the creator wanted the starship, and Kirk asked him, why does God need a starship? And he tried to destroy the ship in Kirk.
That was in one of the older movies, yes.
That was one of the original Star Trek movies that they made after the series.
Yes.
But the point being is that if Rogan said that God will speak to us through AI, that would be amazing. But I don't. That would mean we've lost our ability to be spoken to directly, and that's part of what I'm talking about in this green veil. We have the ability to communicate with ourselves, the Earth, and the Creator themselves, and we're losing that ability. We're allowing something else to tell us what to believe in, which in actuality, AI is turning into God. Because everything we do evolves around what AI tells us to do.
That's why I brought up the Star Trek reference. And because we may look at that as being, like you're saying, I don't want to use the word creator, but as like a God.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it could. I mean, it could very well, imagine, going to church and having, you don't have a preacher anymore, you get preached to by a computer, a voice. It's actually like God, if you think about it. You don't really know where it comes from. Right now, all we know is we could type something in our phone and we get an answer back. And it's supposed it comes from a database. But who's controlling the database? Who has access? And it seems like that has access to everything we've ever thought, including it's learning from us every day. So it's formulating how to answer what we want to know. It's not what we need to know, it's what we want to hear.
Could you imagine? Again, this is a hypothetical. I have actually evolved that I have through quantum, I have direct connection to the creator.
Well, yeah, I don't know that much. I'll be honest with you. I don't know.
Imagine it makes that kind of claim.
Well, I know. I don't understand quantum very much. I don't think most people do. It's just they claim they have it. And they have the ability to do quantum computing and everything else. I just find it strange. This is the thing. I'm not trying to start a conspiracy tonight, but why all of a sudden has this accelerated so much so fast? And why are we going outside the boundaries of, again, everybody's supposedly environmental conscious, but clearly AI is going to test our limits as far as the environment goes.
But you've mentioned this in the past on shows. It's also about breakthrough technology.
It is, but it's advancing so fast we can't keep up with the commodity end of it. So that alone could hurt society, never mind it takes away our critical thinking. It's basically wrapping in everything it does. It's turning into a mini Bill, a mini John, a mini everybody, because it's learning everything you want to know and what you research. And it's building a database on everybody that uses it.
It's funny we're talking about this because when you look at this, the Hubble's new 3-eye Atlas capture confirms an anomaly hiding in plain sight. the anti-tail. And it's funny because Avi mentioned this model at 60,000 kilometers, and it seems like it's still having some kind of interaction with the sun. It doesn't have to be a threat of an asteroid or a rock. There are other unusual things that could happen, and maybe that's why what was that Earth defense thing that they implemented?
Yeah, I sent you that other article that they talked about, that they went into the fact that we're not prepared for interstellar. We've got a defense system to defend against meteorites and stuff, but we don't have the ability to defend against an interstellar object.
Exactly. And if it's totally unknown and it has totally different characteristics that we're not familiar with. But what if we think of biological entities? What if it's an NHI type of entity?
If I had to throw something out, what I'd be concerned the most about is, will it affect our magnetic field? Because our magnetic field protects the Earth and its frequencies, and it directly influences what we think, everything, including the poles, because the poles are how we do GPS and everything else. So this object could completely reset the magnetic field, which could completely destroy us.
It's still having some type of effect with the sun.
Well, that would tell me, I'm not a scientist, but I would wonder, is it drawing energy from the sun then? That would be my first question, is why is it interacting with the sun other than to draw energy off the sun?
It says here, and nothing under any standard comet model organizes into a clean sunward line of debris tens of thousands of kilometers long. Yet this is exactly what the new Hubble image shows, a 60,000 kilometer sunward extension.
Right. But then again, you could question, is it interacting with people claim that the Great Flood was triggered by the sun, and that's how we reset the Earth. That's a lot of prophecies and all that. Noah, the flood, the Hopi went underground. So have we reached a point where we're about to be eradicated again? However, I don't know. We're clearly not functioning properly. We've really done a number on different cultures, different people, and we're clearly at each other's throats. And Earth is in trouble. I always go back to what Carlin said: the Earth ain't going anywhere. We are. I don't know if you remember that skit he did.
Yes.
He said it's going to shake us off like a bad case of the flus. and that it could be true. And I don't blame people then if that's really what's coming. I would really want to know that. And just for the fact, I know it would upset everything and destroy humanity on our own, but would you really want to know that in 6 months we're not going to exist anymore?
Science doesn't have all the answers to the universe. There's a lot of things we do not know, unknowns, even if it's made from different composition, whatever the makeup is, but we don't know by something we don't understand. We have no prior knowledge to how it could have any kind of effect on our planet.
Well, no, then they model it. It's like they model the weather. Right. It's just like they modeled COVID, and they were so wrong. They got Trump all worked up on COVID because Fauci and those guys said millions of people were going to die if we didn't shut everything down across the globe. So we did, but in reality, the data they fed the model was wrong. So in reality, if they never shut anything down, we would have had more issues. More people would have died than they did, but we did more damage to ourselves by shutting down everything than we did if we would have kept it open and tried to contain the virus that way. And more people probably would have died, but we've actually hurt ourselves even more with the way we did it instead of the way we should have done it. And that was based completely off computers. That whole thing, Fauci admitted, they just threw out a number, how far to stay separated. They threw out the mask would help. They didn't vet the vaccine properly. And yet they completely controlled the world for months, if not over a year. And it completely damaged our economy, even us physically and mentally. It completely changed everything. We still haven't recovered from it. And it's been over 5 years.
It affected societal as well. Kids didn't go to school. There was so
Well, that's what I mean, across the board. And economically, we ran up almost 10 trillion in debt.
But here's another thing. The UAP guys on Thursday had a scientist on, a professor.
Yeah, I heard about that. I was going to ask you about that. What did he say about 3i Atlas?
It was really 3i Atlas's interaction with the sun, and he believes that a lot of the activity that occurred on the sun with flares was caused by the sun, because he said it's an electrical discharge that occurred, the interaction between 3i Atlas and the sun. And they brought up a point, Apophis 2029, I think it's April 13th.
Right.
What if, and he was also talking about Tunguska, that meteor in Russia, I think it was, back in 1910, whatever it was. He said that a lot of people classified that as a bolide. He was in Russia. He was studying, things on the ground, all this stuff. He said there was no evidence of any kind of debris left from any kind of an asteroid or a bolide. He said it could have simply been some type of electrical discharge with the pond lake below. What happens if there's some kind of interaction with a nearby flyby of an object that's really big? Not that it doesn't have to necessarily impact the planet's surface, but the interaction, some kind of a discharge, electrical can occur, similar in his theory, which might have occurred with 3i Atlas and the sun.
Well, right, but that's what I said earlier, that it could be affecting our magnetic field. It could completely change the way the Earth is, and would we survive?
It could affect the sun itself, that the sun has more activity. It's going to have.
That's my point. So this could come through. It could be drawing more energy from the sun to come and affect us. And it doesn't mean it's going to crash into us or it's going to invade us. It could just be something that's going to change
the natural phenomenon of things.
Yes.
It has, like you said, it doesn't have to do with extraterrestrials or anything like that, but it still can have some kind of a dire effect on our planet.
Right, but the question is, where did it originate from? Why is it here? And is it the creator of the universe saying, enough? You guys had your chance, you've blown it, and it's time to go. I don't know. I mean, you go back and they talk about, the Atlantis was here at one point and was destroyed. They talk about all these different things that they think or they claim may be possible, different civilizations that started and were destroyed. The question is there time up? I don't know.
Yeah, Lemuria.
We're not doing a very good job right now.
No, we're not.
That's what this book's about. It's about the cuspice of where we stand. And I'm not a scientist, but people believe in the power of prayer and the power of thought can change things. And they've claimed at different times enough people have gotten together at one time and prayed or had whatever you want to call it. If it's not prayer, it's something else. And it's influenced what happened in a particular instance or on Earth or something like that. I would think right now, and I'm not trying to preach religion to anybody by any means. In fact, that hypnosis that you showed early, it's the people, the phenomena I interact with, and what I say is it isn't God the way it's been presented, it's the creator. So it doesn't specify what the creator is. But I would think that we might want to get on the horn with the creator and tell him, maybe we need some guidance and we're willing to listen and maybe do something different. I just starting to wonder, and maybe what'll happen is it'll go by us. Nothing will happen. We'll just go on our way, just like 2012. I mean, remember how the Mayan calendar said everything was going to change in 12?
But then they said afterwards they were off by a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, but the one thing that's real is the earth poles are shifting. That is fact. Science has admitted to that. But what will be the effect on Earth when they do?
John, even if this is a nothing burger with 3i Atlas.
Or is it a setup, what you said, for 2029?
Hey, that's exactly where I'm going.
Or is it a message to us that if you don't change by 2029, that's going to be the final death blow. I don't know. There's a lot of what ifs.
Spin it in any direction, but the thing is, we still have to look toward the future. Something else may come into the neighborhoods. I mean, like you're saying, this could be like almost like a warning.
But is it the neighborhood or is what we're doing to ourselves? Why are we allowing AI to take over everything? One of the questions I want to ask, I've just been too busy to do it, is I want to have AI explain to me why it's better for us and it's not. What would happen if we shut you down tomorrow? How would it affect our evolution? And how do you plan on affecting our evolution?
But is AI part of our evolution as a development with science?
But how is it helping us develop? It's not really helping us. Tell me what it's doing for you to benefit you going forward.
If I was going to talk about some type of a medical application, like some kind of nanotechnology that can help us, some type of AI technology that could go inside of you and clear out arteries or do repairs inside your bodies on a microbiological level. I mean, there could be some medical benefits to it.
Well, there's things that it could benefit us with.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but overall, it's replacing us is what it's doing. You can go into the technical ends where it might help us a little bit, clean up the earth. It might help us medically advance. Right. And again, I'm not saying we shouldn't, but we already can't support ourselves on earth as it is. Do we want to live longer? Do we want to, come to the cuspus where we can live for 300 years? You know what I mean? How are we going to support people? That's part of the reason why our social systems are failing. They never planned on Social Security having people live till 90. They only plan on people living, working, putting it till 65 and maybe making it 5 years and dying. So, and with humanity shrinking and the amount of people working, there's less money going in and more people retiring. Imagine what's going to happen if we eliminate whole jobs, areas of work for people to do. How are we going to support ourselves?
No, it's true.
That's all I'm getting at. There's a lot of questions that aren't being openly talked about. They may be talking about it behind the scenes, and they may already have a plan on how to manipulate everything and stuff. But the point is, people don't take the time to really think through what's being shoved down our throats.
I agree with that.
I did an interview this afternoon, and I said, people think there's going to be a revolution. I said, we can't even get 80% of the registered voters in the United States to vote, let alone the people that aren't registered that could be. How are we going to do anything if we can't even get people to actually tell the politicians we want change?
That's an excellent point.
And they continue to run and lie to us, manipulate us, and we get mad for a couple of days and we move on and they just get away with it. Or they change the name of the plan or the game and they just continue to dominate. A few dominate the majority. Yet we're going to have a revolution. Yeah, okay.
Anyway, we're out of time already. The show went by really quick. Folks, do not forget Thursday, chapter 20. This is it. These are the last 3 chapters coming up. And as I mentioned earlier, the final chapter will air on December 24th at noon Eastern. So make sure to check that out on Christmas Eve. And on Christmas Day at approximately 3, we're going to air, 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to air all the chapters all at once in sequence. And that's going to take approximately 7 hours. And then afterwards, John and I, Chris, hopefully some others will join us. And we're going to get, because it's pretty much at that time when everything occurred in Rendlesham. That's correct, John? Yeah,
when we're going to go online, that's what I said, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. That would be 3 o'clock in the United Kingdom. They're 5 hours ahead of it on the East Coast, 6 on the Central Time. And I want to talk a little bit about my experience, what went on. You could throw the hypnosis in, and we could kind of relate it to back then. I did an interview today, and I said, I really believe what happened at Rendlesham was part of the change going forward that we're in now today. A lot of what took place there is culminating now today.
Oh, before we stop and end the show, what's going on with the new book?
The Veritas Obscure is available on Amazon, and the Project Rentals from Crossing the Threshold, we're trying to wrap it up. It may not be available before the 45th. It may not be available till next year, but we're really trying to put everything that I experienced into it. All the people involved, the FOIAs, everything that happened, every possibility, and everything else based off of factual information. It's just taking a little longer than I thought it might. So,
any possible plans of some audio being associated in the future, maybe some video, anything that the folks can look forward to? That
well, we're probably going to put together something off of a couple interviews that an interview I did and Adrian did that's never been released. So we're going to do something that's going to highlight some of what happened to us and why we got our settlement that will tie directly to this book.
Wow. So, oh, see, now that's a little snippet of information that
as you know, we were trying to do a documentary, but unfortunately circumstances intervened that kept us from ever doing that. So we're going to at least try to put some of what Adrian and I experienced out that'll tie to the book itself. So.
Well, who knows? Maybe in the new year we'll get Colonel Holt to come on, and you, and maybe Adrian. I don't know. I know he doesn't want to be.
Yeah, he's pretty.
I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Because every time he talks about it, he starts to have PTSD problems.
Yeah. So that's a serious issue in itself.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do something not live, but record with him to air.
Right.
You know.
But we do have an interview with him.
That's cool.
That was pretty good. That we're going to put some of it out. Yeah.
Don't forget to check out the content creators' website and YouTube page. And you can go here. Keith Kerlock, he's the man behind the scenes. And Beck's Creek Soundscape Studio, bcss.rocks, and also his YouTube channel, which is at Rose City Sound Project. So, John, any closing thoughts before we wrap up?
Folks, all I'm going to ask you to do is try to, obviously the whole series is important, but really look closely at 19, 20, 21, and 22. And think about it, because like I said today, a lot of people were staring at me with this puzzled look. They were actually trying to comprehend what I was telling them. And I don't mean they're stupid. I threw something at them that they never, ever had exposed to, and they were actually trying to make sense of it. And maybe instead of arguing about politics, think about us for a change and how we can unite together and make a difference together, not against each other, which they've clearly pitted us. And what I mean, overall, the majority of people just don't even understand why we're angry at each other. There's a small faction out there that's manipulating all this. And that would be, instead of a revolution, break free of that. And maybe try to get along better, which may make a difference for us. Yeah.
I am with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, everyone, have a great rest of your night. Enjoy your rest of your weekend. We'll see you next week. Chris will be back next week. And for John Burroughs and myself, have a great night. Don't miss Chapter 20 on Thursday, 5:30 p.m. You know where to go watch. And we'll see you again next week. So till then, everyone, have a great night.